Thank you so much, Claire, for being here today. I'm here today with Claire Martinsen, co-founder and COO of BioBloom Medical.
Yeah, thank you, Kim, for inviting me.
So happy. I know when we met at the Biohackers Conference, I was blown away by your energy and really the foundation for your company, which is incredible. So today, I was hoping that we can get into all of it.
Yes.
So, Iconic Women is really all about elevating other women, especially co founders like you that are doing some great things in health, wellness, longevity, helping us to stay younger and even, better in our 50s, 60s, and beyond. So, let's just kind of dive in. I really want to start first with talking a little bit about your background because when I was looking at your background, I was blown away with your credentials. So, can you share a little bit about that first?
Yeah, so I went to school at UC San Diego for my biology degree, and I wanted to get into medical school. My original goal in the health and wellness care field was to be a trauma surgeon. That was something that interested me. I didn't know why yet at that time. So as I was going through school, through elementary school to high school, it was really easy, it almost like cakewalk. And I thought college was going to be the same, but reality hit. It was difficult. It was hard for me to keep up because the independence started happening. I didn't have anyone to keep at me telling me, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I started to kind of fall off the tracks. And then I went to go see a counselor, and she was telling me, you got to go see a therapist. And then I went through the school for that, and I went and saw a therapist, and then she misdiagnosed me back then for depression and PTSD. So kind of at that age yet, therapy, mental health wasn't a thing. And I thought, this is crazy. I don't have any of this. I'm not going to go see a psychiatrist. Mistake number one. So I struggled to finish my college, but I finished with a bio degree. And when I wanted to get into medical school, you had to do all your prerequisites because just being a general biology major, there were some other curriculums that I had to take. While I was going through that, I wanted to get my clinical hours with the ambulance company. Actually, my best friend at the time was working for an ambulance company, and he said this is the best way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went through a 6 months program to get my EMT certified, and then I got hired with a 911 contracted ambulance company back home in LA County. And that's when I excelled and thrived in. And it was 24 hours nonstop, constant emergency calls. I would wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning just hyped up, the adrenaline, the dopamine is rushing through me. And I'm on scene talking to the fire captains like, good morning, I'm here. And that's when people started asking me the question, do you have ADHD? It never even crossed my mind. I was like, I don't know. Do I have it? Do I sound like I have it? Then I started going through the check marks, the testings. I self-diagnosed it, and I realized I had it. Because of the ADHD, we're a great procrastinator, but we're also good at creating.
Oh, so many entrepreneurs have ADHD.
We can start something, but if it's uncontrolled, it's hard for us to finish.
Yes.
That's when I started to realize if something didn't give me that dopamine rush, that instant release of that happy hormone, I couldn't finish. It was great for me to start my coursework. I would get straight A's from the beginning. The moment when I need to graduate is when I start to fall off course. I would drop out of classes. I wouldn't attend. I would start giving excuses.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's when I was like, you know what? Being a paramedic, being with the fire department was my calling because they fed into my ADHD.
Yes.
I was good at it. I didn't quit. I never called out. I was always picking up shifts. And so I did get hired during COVID with LA County Fire Department. And I thought this was it. This was my dream career. And my best friend at the time was going through nursing school. And so her and I always wanted to do something together. And my mom has always been an entrepreneur her entire life.
Okay.
So she told us, okay, one of you guys get your, fire department, finish that. And the other one, once you guys are done with nursing, let's start a wellness sector. And we were going to call it the drip because the morning drip would have been for the 24-hour shifters that got off of shift, either your ER nurse, trauma surgeons, medics, firefighters. They would come to our little bar drip, and they would either get their morning breakfast done, or they would go to a different section where they could get their daily IVs and daily vitamins.
How long ago was that? Because that's so forward. That's so now.
Yeah, this was about 5 years ago.
Wow. You
Yeah,
were
so
really ahead of your time.
we thought about it because that was the trend, right? Like, it was slowly starting to happen. Like, people were getting really involved into the IV drips and the vitamins and all of that because they wanted to live longer.
Yes.
And unfortunately, my best friend also struggled with mental illness that I did not see. I felt like a movie. So she was about to graduate from nursing school, and she wanted to get a pair of, like those little fake knockoff Louis Vuitton red-heeled shoes. So I told her, I got you, girlfriend, don't worry. And then I was pregnant with my second baby at the time. But when she asked me, she's like, hey, do you have it? Is it ready? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry. Your graduation is not until February. It's barely August. Like, chill. And I said, I'm just going to give it to you. As in, I was preparing for a really big, grand gift, but this is just like something, right?
Right.
I didn't want to ruin the surprise. And then she took it offensively, thinking that I was giving her a fake gift. And then she said, it doesn't matter, but don't give me something like that as my graduation present. I got pissed. She got pissed. We didn't talk to each other. And in the back of my head, it was like, why do I always have to go talk to her when I'm always the one that said sorry? So I'm not going to do it this time. That was the last time I talked to her.
So then you have the drip.
Yeah.
First of all, it's such a perfect combination, I have to say, because I'm an entrepreneur. I had a company for 32 years, and I have ADD for sure. But it's the way our brains work. We're always constantly creating. We're always thinking. So you're going through this process. You were on your second child.
I was on my second child. She was my godmother for my first baby. And we were even talking about going to, getting the attorney to sign all the right, as a godmother, where in case something happened to my husband and I, she would be the legal guardian for them. And I didn't know. So when that whole thing happened, the last thing I heard was from one of her schoolmates contacting me on social media asking, have you heard from Britney? At first, I thought it was a scam because scam was happening on Instagram and it was a random person. I was like, no, she's at home because I could see her location. And then it didn't hit until when our other friend, who normally doesn't text me, asked the same thing. That's when my heart sank. And she lived 10 minutes away from my mom's house. And so me and my husband, we raced there. I dropped my daughter off at my mom's house. I gotta go. And then we raced there and then knocked on the door, and her landlord opened, and they were like, Brittany's not here anymore. And that hit really hard. Until today, there's not a day that goes by where I don't think about her.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. But so I think this is also another reason why when the universe calls you for something, you listen, you pay attention, you learn from the mistakes that it's teaching you, and now you treasure the moments you do have with the people that are still around you. And it's the pride, right? Like, we all have that. It doesn't hurt to say, I'm sorry. It doesn't hurt to be that person to reach out. I let pride get to me, and in return, I wasn't able to help my best friend during her struggles. But also, people do say, it's not your fault. Sometimes I do wonder, right? I know it's not my fault, but I could have been that helping hand. I could have been that string that she was tugging on, that lifeline she was holding on to.
Yeah.
Had I done things differently, could she still be here?
Right. So, wow, what a story. And then just going back, so you get through school, you find your passion, right? And you have your entrepreneurial vision happening with the drip, which again I think is so interesting. I would love to know a little bit more about the impetus with BioBloom because I have to say, when I saw you, first of all, you look amazing. And
Ah,
then I look
thanks.
at these photos and you are living proof of what you're doing. But I would love to know a little bit more about how did you even come around to starting BioBloom Medical and exactly what it is that BioBloom offers. Because I know, again, that's also a very forward-thinking company and extremely relevant and a key to unlocking longevity, health, wellness, right?
Yeah. So, back to when I was doing my fire department stuff, I got my master's in public health because the goal was still to get involved in the healthcare, the medical field. And COVID hit. I got pregnant with my first baby during COVID while I got hired with LA County Fire Department. So I had to drop out of that dream job almost for me. And my parents, my mom especially, she's always been an entrepreneur. She grew up in China, being a communist country where it was very follow by the rule. You cannot steer away from being different. She was that person that was always different. She was really
Wow.
smart and she always dressed differently. So, in order to get a college in China, you had to get recommendations from your teachers.
Okay.
Their teachers refused to recommend her just because she was different. So she decided, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. So when she came to the States, she started her own business journey. A lot of them didn't succeed. She always had grand dreams, and we always shut it down like, yeah, okay, like whatever, right?
Right.
Until she truly found her passion, which was in distribution, wholesale with toys first.
Oh my
We caught on the trend of the emojis. Do you remember like back in the
Yes.
2000s when the emojis were
Oh,
super
yes.
hot? So my mom created the emoji pillow. Do you remember the emoji pillows
Are
that
you
everybody was selling?
serious? My kids had those.
So she was the queen of that. And I was in college at that time. So what I did was my organization was called Circle K. It was a volunteer organization. I
Okay.
offered to distribute to them while I made money off of on the side to pay off my student loans. But at the same time, the org made money to help and keep our organization going.
Circle
So
K.
yeah, Circle K. I actually paid off my student loan like that. It was about 40 grand that I had, and I paid it off with the emoji pillows. Yeah. So she's always tried to grab me from my EMT, my ambulance courier, to work for her. And I always said, I'll work for you 3 days out of the week. I can do that. But she's like, no, no, no. You have to be, just always here like a full-time employee. So I always said no. But my now husband, his family has always been involved in business. That's when he started asking the question, what does your mom do? Let's go look at your mom's stuff. Does she have a warehouse? In the back of my head, I always thought my mom was this tiny little swap me lady that's selling on the corner
Oh,
or
wow.
somewhere. Until I said, oh, yeah, sure. Let me ask. Mom, where is your address? This is like 5-6 years into of her doing business. I had no idea what she did. And I was shocked. Her warehouse, it's
Oh my
about
God.
30,000 square foot with a crap ton of employees, and there's just boxes of products stacked to the ceiling, like top to bottom. And I was like, wait, you're actually big. Yeah, she did that all by herself, and just that drive, that passion that
Love
I
that.
saw. And then the best thing she did was to offer me and my husband to travel. To travel to different trade shows all throughout the States. Yeah, gifts and
Which is how I
souvenirs.
met you. And you were
Yep.
so on fire that day.
Yep. And then so we started doing that. And that's where the entrepreneurship started happening, where I started being my mom, constantly coming out with new ideas and constantly being shut down and constantly coming out with different ideas. And so BioBloom happened 6 months after my best friend passed.
Okay. What
Honestly,
year was that? I'm just
this
curious.
was 2020, end of 2022, beginning of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And, and
yeah.
okay, so first I just want to say it's always fascinating to me how we don't realize what an influence our mothers have on our lives, because mine is the same.
Absolutely.
And you never correlate it.
No.
And so the fact that all of these roads have led you to where you are, and then being on the forefront. Okay, so you did share a little bit of a story with me, because wasn't she the first one that you saw taking the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about that story, because that, again, she's so ahead of her. She's like a Renaissance woman.
Oh my gosh, she's way ahead of, like, she is the trendsetter. If you go to downtown LA, the entire distribution center, and you say my mom's name, Karina Yu, they know that's the queen of downtown LA. She single-handedly, like, not trying to toot my mom's horn, but she single-handedly revived the entire wholesale district, the entire toy district, the entire flower district. She was the one that created the trend. Then the rest of the distributors followed foot. They would copy, they would mimic, but they were never her, because she's always that first person to bring something in before anybody else gets it.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So there's like this one thing, right? People always say there's that intuition in the universe, there's energy surrounding us, and whether you are a believer or not, I was never a believer. I'm constantly a doubter, because I have to see it, feel it in my own body.
And you're somewhat of a scientist,
Exactly.
right?
So those things I don't really believe in. But when things started happening in my life, when I started seeing, whether you call it a coincidence or a snap, karma hits me really hard, always. So I always saw it as a hint. And 6 months after the whole situation happened with my best friend, I saw my mom and my mom's best friend. They were like in the back of the warehouse, being so secretive, doing stuff. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? And the moment I walk in, they're, oh, nothing. It's for, longevity, anti-aging. I'm like, what are you guys anti-aging on? And then I see these little vials that they have, and like with needles. And I'm like, are you guys jabbing each other? And I'm like, are you guys jabbing each other in the face or what? Like, are you doing Botox? And they just couldn't explain it. And at that time, NAD was a hot topic, and it had just came out, like a buzzword around, but no one really know what it was. No.
I mean, we're talking 2022, right?
2023, end of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. And then so I was like, no, this is not good. Like, let me research it. I have to figure out what you're doing.
The scientist.
Yeah. So I started going down into a deep rabbit hole. You couldn't find, so the product that they were doing was NADH.
Okay.
You couldn't find anything about NADH.
What is the difference with NAD and NADH?
So when you think about it, NAD and NADH correlate with each other. They go back and forth. But the only thing that NAD does not have that NADH has is that H is hydrogen. It's an electron.
Okay.
So that electron goes directly into the mitochondria, which is in every single part of our cells. So that little electron is actually the energy, the charged battery that our body needs. NAD plus can't do that. NAD plus has to convert when it's in our system, find that electron to bind to it, then it becomes NADH, and then it can donate the energy. That's why a lot of the times when people take NAD plus, they feel lethargic and then they feel better.
Okay.
Or some people have the opposite effect where they just don't feel anything through and through. That's when I realized, wait a second. These little Chinese ladies got the breakthrough of the next new thing. And then my aunt was a silent investor for the lab, for the pharmaceutical company. But the pharmaceutical company, they were already, a big, well-organized corporate. They just want to invent and create and come out with new product for longevity, for healthcare. And I saw it as not just an opportunity as an entrepreneur to bring out a new breakthrough product for this longevity and health and wellness market, but I also saw it as an opportunity for me to pay it back to those that are struggling with their mental health issues where, right?
So there's a correlation with the impact of NADH on your body and your
and your brain.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah. So as I researched and dug deeper, I've had people come up to me and told me that, did you know NADH has been around for well over 10 years? It was something that we did not know. And also they told me, did you know that NADH was the cure for a lot of patients that struggle with chronic fatigue syndrome? That was also something I did not know. And as I researched and studied more, what I realized was our body run on ATP. There's only two molecules that make and create ATP in our system, which is NADH and FADH2. As of right now, I don't think I've seen any other lab making FADH2 yet. So NADH was it. And when we have that energy, when we have that ATP, it's quintessential for our brain health as well.
Okay.
We need it. We need oxygen. We need energy. We need all of that driving force to get us out of that hump, get us out of that depression, out of that anxiety. All of those things correlate with what our body mechanism's doing, the output of it.
It's so fascinating. And so that is the start. That is the start of BioBloom Medical.
That was literally the start. And then I started talking to my other girlfriend, who's now my social media girl. You met her, Blake. And I told her about it. I was like, I want to start this. Let's come up with a name. And then so her and I started just like researching, of course, ChatGPT. And then she was like, how about BioBloom? And I was like, oh my gosh, bloom from within.
Oh, I love it.
And it was almost like a rebirth, because when I first heard of the name BioBloom, I immediately thought about the Chinese flower lotus. And in our culture, the lotus represents rebirth, regeneration, come clean again. So that's why we have the lotus as our symbol and our sign, because I want people to feel reborn when they use our product. I don't want my product to just be a trend. I want to be able to help people from within, and I want their mitochondria, I want their cells to heal. I want them to feel full again. I want them to be on this supplement, but at the same time, once your body is at that maximum potentiality, you don't have to keep taking it. You can get off of it. Yeah.
So I looked at you. You were living proof, and I'm sure you've seen this with all of the clients that you serve. Do you serve clients all over the United States?
I do.
Okay. And do they come to you because there's so much mystery right around NAD and the benefits of it, NAD and NADH, right?
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you're talking about it, but yet you were a little bit on the forefront of this, you're almost 4 years in with BioBloom Medical. And can you share a little bit even like about the testing of it and how your process differs? Because I did note that you work with a lot of sports athletes, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
So when I first dug into this, during the research process, I'm a skeptic. I never believe in something. I don't ever think it's going to work the way how everybody says it will, because there's a lot of products out there that promises you one thing and the effect is never there. And I've always been that person that's also inconsistent with doing things. So when I first started trialing NADH on my body, it's the injectable form, I didn't see it. I didn't see the benefit at all. No, for 4 weeks, I was consistent with it. And our initial protocol was do the intramuscular injection, which is the thicker needle, and the bigger one, scarier one. Like 3 milliliters.
Yourself?
By myself. I did it by myself.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then I tried it and I was like, this doesn't work. What is this, right? This is BS. I'm not going to do something like that. So then I took myself off of it while I was also reaching out to doctors that I knew, driving to San Diego, meeting with them, having chats with them about this. Then I started to realize, wait a second, my back pain is back. I had completely forgotten about that because, after
the changes are so subtle.
Yes, because it's that subtle, is the internal cellular change that our outer body, we don't know. And because I never took anything like this, so I never knew what I was supposed to look for. I didn't realize, I wasn't crashing throughout the mid-afternoons. I wasn't running away from my tasks anymore.
So mental clarity on top of all of this?
Yes, I was able to see the mess that I was creating with my ADHD. Wait a second, hubby, I left all these out right now? So he started seeing a different part of me where he called me a little like crazy menace. He's like, you're menacing again, where I'm picking up things where I normally don't do. And that's when I was like, okay, let me pull myself back up. I had a 2-hour drive that one day going to San Diego, and I knew my back was going to hurt. So that morning, I gave myself another shot. And now I knew to pay attention.
I see.
It disappeared. And then I also had forgotten, because our hormones changes, especially for us women, after we give birth, our hormones are out of whack.
Yes.
And a lot of autoimmune issues starts to happen. So for me, being Asian, I ate a lot of gluten, I eat a lot of shellfish, and I eat a lot of dairy and soy. I started becoming allergic to every single one of them. I have giant welts, even if I just ate a tiny piece. I went to the doctors. I went and saw holistic doctors. I went and saw muscle testers. I started getting on homeopathic droplets. Nothing worked. Nothing helped. And then I realized, wait, NADH was helping. Yeah, I stopped having these crazy flare-outs. And I also was not nasally anymore. But these were all things that was changing within my body that I didn't realize. So that's when I truly understood this isn't just about a trend. This wasn't just another Botox shot. This was wellness. This was longevity.
Transformative.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting because it's so... One of the things that I really admire about you is the personalization of it all. It's like you have this entrepreneurial brain, obviously, but then you're a scientist and a skeptic. And so you had to make sure that it was working first on you.
Yeah.
And before you can validate it on your own, right? Even if the science says it. But then you create an entire business around it. And you take into account the impact of the personal trauma you had with your best friend, right?
Yeah.
And pull that forward to help others on their journey, which is what your BioBloom really exists to do, right?
Yeah.
And now, do you only specialize in the NADH2, or do you include other there's so many modalities out there on the peptide realm.
Yeah.
But do you include any of that in your practice, or is it?
When people ask me about it, or they ask me, hey, do you suggest this and that? I always encourage them. I say yes, because I like forward thinking. I like the new discoveries of these products. And as I'm also getting more and more involved in the health and wellness section, I started meeting health and wellness experts that teaches me and talks to me about peptides. So I'm always open to it. My two biggest ones the three non-negotiables are my glutathione injection, my B12, and my NADH.
Okay.
These are not considered peptides because NADH is a B12 coenzyme. B12 is a vitamin and enzyme that our body
B12.
that our body naturally produces but can't produce enough. I utilize those two together because B12 works synergistically with NADH. It helps me push it out a little bit just more and gives me more of a mental clarity. And glutathione is so great for us because it's known as the super antioxidant and also anti-inflammatory.
Okay.
So these are the three main things that I recommend to my clients. But when they do ask about peptides, I do teach them, I do give them my recommendation. And here's a funny thing that I've learned recently, that I did make the mistake of speaking kind of like misinformative during the biohacker conference, where I told people, don't buy the research peptides. You only have to get it from compounding pharmacy where it's from a clinic.
Right.
That was a mistake. So what I learned is there's two different compounding pharmacies, right? 503A that can do research-based compounded molecules like peptides. 503B that only specialize in FDA-regulated compounded
I see.
molecules.
Okay.
Correct. So it's two separate entities. Anything that are currently not FDA regulated all have to go through the 503A research labs, and they have to be labeled as research only. So when I was telling people that if it says research, it was bad, not necessarily.
Right.
You have to just find the right lab that
Yes.
makes it correctly, that makes it with pure intention, pure integrity. There was another little trick that I did know. When you buy your vials, if the vials are small and skinny and has color-coded tabs, those are all directly from China. Yes. And when the vials are bigger and thicker and it's got that gray cap, those have been recompounded in the US-based companies.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I know. I think it's one of the things that I am so fascinated about is just education and information because it's a little bit of a new frontier right now, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting what you're saying about the labs because, again, I think that's evolving. For your products, I was looking through your website. They're gorgeous, but how do you determine the efficacy of your products? Like, how do you also work with labs, don't you?
Yeah, so we have our lab. There's two different products that I have. One is the transdermal patches. Those
Okay.
are more non-invasive. Also gives us the delivery mechanism of NADH going into our cells because, you slap it on and it's directly into your skin,
And those are
bypassing the
just as
digestive.
effective?
Those are
Well,
just as effective, except it doesn't give you the anti-inflammatory and also the antioxidant benefits. It's only for that energy boost of the NADH. And the injectable form, we do work with a compounded pharmacy, a 503A and 503B certified. So we get our certification of COA, that's what they call it. Every single batch that comes out, it goes through that standardized test. One of the labs, the third-party labs, Freedom, everyone uses them.
freedom.
Freedom, yeah. So everybody uses that lab and then they show you. So there's peak marks. And then if your product has NADH, it'll have two peaks. NAD has one peak. And
Okay.
that peak shows what's the purity, the concentration of it. We always strive to be at 99.98%.
Okay.
So that's when you know the products is pure, the products are good. And you can also find us under the FDA registration number. So we have notified the FDA. We understand that this product is not regulated, but we would like to still register for a serial number to show you that we're making it, we're going through the right procedures, and if in the future we were going to do some clinical trials, we're already a step ahead of
That's
everybody.
amazing. Now, do you have a facility as well?
Like a office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in some of the content that I've looked at, you're in a beautiful setting. You're with some of your clients, right?
I do those at my resort in Malibu called Calamigos.
Nice.
Yeah. Entrepreneurship, where I joined the membership in terms of I can also get my work done here because it's beautiful, because you can create these nice content. But we also have like a wellness clinic office here in Irvine as well.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So, one of the things that I also wanted to talk to you about, because I think so many women go through it, is the balancing act that you have to apply as an entrepreneur. I mean, I know I raised two kids over my 30-year career, and it was just wild because your other baby is your business in a lot of ways. So, how old are your children now?
I have a almost 4-year-old and a
Oh
2-year-old.
my God.
I'm in the thick of it.
You are, and
Yeah.
you're building and developing this company, serving clients around the United States. How do you, how how do you balance it all? Because I do agree with you that taking care of your body and your brain and all of that really helps to stabilize things, right?
Yeah.
Especially because there's so much that goes on to our bodies when we just are, our young mom, basically. But how do you manage all of that?
As much as I hate to admit, I know we all want to be strong, independent women out there, but I am lucky to have a supportive husband who's home, who decided to give up his firefighting dream to be with the kiddos
Wow.
because so he's white and I'm Asian. There is that culture conflict as well for us in our deep down in our Asian root. We're like, we must succeed, and work, work, work. That's how we were taught growing up. But I got really lucky also with my mom and my dad being super supportive. They never pushed me to be anything. It was whatever I wanted to be. And I struggled a lot, a hell of a lot times where him and I would fight and argue, where I was constantly on my phone even when I got home, because when you have your own business, you
don't
work
stop.
you work 24/7. Clients are going to call you or contact you when they're off of work, but that doesn't mean you get to get off. So I had to learn to separate two
So
things,
important.
work earlier because there's the time difference between East Coast and West
I
Coast. I
see.
can get the East Coast clients on an earlier timeline when the kids are already up, and now thankfully they're in school half of the day. So when they're gone, I get on the road, I start dealing with those clients, and then the West Coast clients shipping out or whatever would be in the afternoon because at that time they're more responsive to everything. But when I go home, now I make sure I shut my phone.
I love that because it's so hard to do. But it sounds like you're in this rhythm, right? You know the rhythm of your business now, right? And you're
Yeah,
integrating your family life the way it is really difficult to do.
it's sporadic.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there are still times where I'm on my phone like this, like at home. And sometimes I catch myself. Sometimes I do need a gentle reminder from my husband, like, hey, your
I'm
your kids
here.
are calling your name like 4 times now. And
Right.
then there's that guilt, that mom guilt also when you look at them growing up. You're like, oh no, like you don't want to miss that. So what I learned throughout this entire entrepreneurship, growing the business, doing the family business with my mom at the same time is that the business will always be here, but the time that you have with your kids will not.
It's so interesting to me to listen to your story because the fact that your mom was this incredible dynamo and you really weren't even clued into that. I mean, it sounds like you knew that she was out there doing these things, but it wasn't until your adult years where you realized like what a trendsetter she was.
Oh, it wasn't until I had my own kids. And then I was like,
How did she do
Mom.
it? Right? How does she balance it all? So just I want to also ask you with BioBloom, and it's this emerging company, obviously extremely important in health and wellness and longevity. Like, what is your future vision for BioBloom? Because this industry is on such a fast track.
Right.
And I love the impact it has on women because even you on your as part of this podcast, I want to show some of your photos because it's just been so transformative, right?
Yeah, I
And so
lost 50 pounds.
amazing,
All of that
right?
inflammation.
It's all inflammation,
It's
right?
all inflammation. We hold on to a lot of inflammation as we age. And when our metabolic starts to slow down, we hold on to these little fires and it just keeps igniting. One fire catches on to the other side, another catches on to the other side. People get arthritis. That's inflammation. That's
Right.
inflammation in the joints. People have knee pain, inflammation in your kneecaps. My shoulder hurts. My shoulder blades are tight. That's inflammation. That's tension. When your cell starts to heal internally, that's when we can heal as a whole. I don't want BioBloom to be a trend. I want BioBloom to be a long living supplement that every household has the capability of purchasing and buying to make themselves whole, to make themselves alive, to make themselves feel young again. I want to be, the Coachella of probiotics, right?
I
And I
love
want
it.
to, I
Yes.
just,
Do you still integrate the drip component of your original business? Well, I guess it somewhat of it is, right? So
yeah, so that's still in the back of my head. The goal eventually is to build my own functional clinic, a
okay.
wellness clinic, a place where people can come in and lounge. And I love my emergency families. I love my firefighters. I love my first responders. I will forever be grateful for the opportunities I got from that career. I learned a lot. I saw a lot. I experienced a lot. So I want to give them a spot, a place where they get to truly
Beautiful.
enjoy and relax, give them some discounts or be able to implement these things in their firehouses, in their stations, go there once a week to give them some complimentary
I
treatments.
love that. My son was an EMT, and the work they do is so critical and so powerful, and there's so many emotional things that happen in one day
Oh,
for
yeah.
and I don't even think, and I have to say I think they're frankly really underpaid for what they do, and the
Absolutely.
trauma is just, but it is a certain mindset, right?
It takes a special dark-minded person with the
Yes.
dark humor to be able to accept and tolerate and also be compassionate towards these patients. You get a lot of calls that are the same, people that you see all the time. Do you have it inside of you to be that compassionate person, to still smile at them, to still be nice, to still give them the exact same treatment? And there are days where you're ecstatic because you get to deliver a baby or you got to save someone. And
Right.
there are also days where you go into a household and you find the dad, the husband drowned in their family pool. So the emotion of first responders and the mental being and the mental toll that it has on them is traumatic and it's significant. And
Yes.
it's not talked about a lot. And they're absolutely underpaid. Just every time when I think about there is a cut and a cut is coming to the emergency department or the EMTs or the fire department, it's like, you guys don't understand how much these people sacrifice
Yes.
to help someone else that's a complete stranger to them. I understand that's their job. I understand that's what we signed up for. But at the same time, please be appreciative when you see them. Just say
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Offer a water. We love getting our waters and Gatorades or an energy drink.
Well, and it seems like I'm fascinated by Circle K. Obviously, there's Circle K. So the name, are you still involved in, it sounds like there's a component, a part of you that is really committed to giving back and nurturing the community that you're a part of. I mean, it just seems like it's part of your whole philosophy. Are you still involved in any of that through BioBloom? Is there any component of that or in the future that you see? It sounds like I don't know. I think sometimes on the philanthropy level or being a part of a community give back is such an inspiring part of just business as a whole, right?
Yeah. So the reason why I started BioBloom, like this company, is to feed my family, A, but also B, is to give back. I experienced it firsthand with
Yes.
what mental health can be and can happen. I didn't have a full grasp when I was in the EMS field, when I was responding to these. Yeah, I was that person that was like, hey, you just have anxiety. Come on, you're fine. Like, get over it. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, come on, toughen up. You
Right.
got this. Not until I experienced it in this deeper traumatic envision almost. Now my dream and my goal, my hope is to be able to sponsor these young men and young women whose goal and dream is to help others if they want to go into the nursing school or even medical school or be a firefighter, be an emergency personnel. I would love to be that foundation that's able to help them with the first step, whether it's an introduction to the firehouse where they can get their service hours, or, like an internship at a hospital, or even at an internship at my own clinic when I have it. That's the goal, and I would absolutely love doing that in honor of my best friend. I want to set it up as like the Britney Lucish Foundation.
Oh, I love that.
And then I would love to hold like annual galas and invite all of my, emergency EMS personnels, get a bunch of people involved in it, and just do good things like to give back.
It's so fascinating to me how, like, you definitely seem to thrive. I don't want to say in chaos because it's not chaos, but when a lot is happening, right? Because I'm the same mentality.
Yeah.
I like the pace of it all, right? I mean, I'm here and I am supposed to be retired, right? But I'm just fascinated. I'm fascinated by meeting women like you. I had the chance to see you at Biohackers. I absolutely loved your energy. I saw you speak. Do you speak often? Because I know that on the trade show level that you were attracting a lot of people to just the way you were presenting BioBloom and your level of engagement and enthusiasm and everything. Are you also doing speaking engagements in this industry? Or
I do. I always try to, maneuver my way into any chance way I can get whenever there's a health conference. I always like to present BioBloom, and at the same time, I always ask the the host and the people to give me an opportunity to go on stage to present. At the same time, the reason why I like speaking and I like presenting, it's not just to get my product known to the world, but also get people inspired. And I want them to know that just because our body changed as we age doesn't mean we have to settle for that. There are things out there holistically that can help you to get back on track.
Well, and especially now. So how do you continue with everything moving as quickly as it is in this industry? And there's such a lack of awareness. I love the fact that you're out there preaching about it, but in reality, you're doing it in a very authentic way because you believe in it, right? You put it to the test. You were the naysayer in the beginning, and then you're like, it actually has affected me in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
But how do you stay on obviously you've got your background in your science, your background in the medical industry and through your schooling and everything, but how do you continue to stay on the forefront of all of this yourself? Like, because there's so much that's continuing to evolve in the industry.
So, this is a really good question. And also, I was actually going back and forth this entire month about it. Honestly, everyone has that, there's that point in your career where you question it. Am I doing the right thing?
Exactly. Or am I, what is they call it, where you feel like a fraud?
Yeah. Am I
imposter syndrome?
Yeah, yes. The imposter syndrome has hit me pretty hard because I had a flop of a health and wellness conference last month. I didn't do as well as I expected, and also the demographic of it. Now thinking back, it wasn't my true demographic, and also because my product is about education and information, it's not a show and tell where let me show you how this works. I have to talk to you about it. Yes. People don't come up. If people are not interested, then I don't have the audience to be able to engage with it. So that was also what I found out. It's that stay true to what you do. I also fell into the trap because this industry is moving so fast. Yes. You want to get your hands on everything That's not how the universe wants you to be. The universe gave you one thing, and you got to stay true to this thing. You got to be committed to it. No one is successful overnight.
I have to say, I really liked that about your business philosophy when I was looking through that, because I'm like, she's dug deep into this world. So, and analyzing every component of it so that you can authentically share information and education about it, right?
Yeah.
You're not trying to be all things to all people.
No, I fell into the trap. Oh my gosh, peptides. I got to get on the peptide trend. I got to start offering all these peptides. No, you got to stay true to one thing. I believe in NADH. NADH is my mitochondrial healing, that component. I know it works. I know it works for people with mental health issues, and it works well for them. I'm not going to jump on something else. I understand it. I can offer my advice to those that wants to do the peptides, but my main focus, it's still NADH.
I love that. I love that because you know the impact that it's going to have on so many people's lives, and you've tested it, your scientific brain, you validated it, you've authenticated it. So, and it's just the start of it, right?
It is. So last week so through that flop of a trade show, I did meet a few very nice people, and they trialed my product, and I didn't even know this. One lady has type 1 diabetes. And at the show, she bought one patch just to test to see like what's going to happen to her, because I told her it's going to increase your energy. And she said, no, I have enough energy. I don't need that. But to my surprise, she told me that actually leveled her glucose level. Kept it at a normal base throughout 24 hours. That was something fascinating. That was something new and fresh for me to learn.
Wow.
So now we incorporated the injections for her. She is also a muscle tester. Those people that take, the products and they muscle test on themselves to see what strength that they should be at. At first, I gave her do 30, small syringe units twice a week. That was a little too much for her, so she pushed back to 25 units.
Okay.
She's doing fantastic on it. She's pushed back on her insulin levels, and then we've also asked for her doctor to, lower her insulin dose to see what happens with NADH, because she's also that person that wants to tell her doctor, no, I can cure my type 1 diabetes with supplements, with things that are naturally occurring in our bodies.
It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see, and I'm hopeful that this product can go into clinical research for diabetes, because I've also seen improvements on people with high blood pressure and high cholesterol, all that sorts.
Wow. Well, okay, as we wrap all of this up, I just want to know, is there anything else that you would want to share? We've talked about entrepreneurship, motherhood, the evolution of BioBloom Medical, the fact that you are really kind of like on the forefront, the benefits of NADH, which I never really understood until you put it in the terms, but anything else that...
The mistakes.
Yes.
The mistakes that we make. Being in any business, there's always going to be times where you step on people's toes, on whether it's on accident or whether you intentionally did it. It's always not good. And I had my first fair share of that when I made a mistake of under communicating with a clinic that was a partner of mine. It was truly unintentional, but I do want to tell, people, and especially for us females, where we take everything in so much harder, so personal. It's okay.
Yeah.
Things like this will happen always in life. People that are meant to be here, that are meant to stay, will stay and will understand you.
Yes.
The ones that don't want to stay, they won't. it comes in waves. You find your people, you find your stones, your rocks, you find your support system. You find the ones that leave and that are always behind you secretly, like rooting for you. I have those friends. And then
Yes.
even though they don't always text me back, but I have them and they're always like, sorry, I got to connect you with these people. When one door closes, multiple doors open. And when one door closes, that's just another way for you to be like, I got to push harder.
Yes.
I was too comfortable with that one door. Now I need to expand. I need to push my limits and see where you can go. Don't ever give up.
I love that because I always say I wish I could live backwards because you learn so much, right? You have so much wisdom when you've gone through the trials and tribulations. And it is entrepreneurship is a very exciting and dynamic process, but it also can be really painful because you go through a lot. There's a lot of expectations put on you by your clients, by your employees, by your family members, like all of it. So I think that part of what you just shared is so impactful. And that's how we learn, right? And the communication component
It's key.
it's really key.
Over communicate. If they screw you over, so be it. But don't ever not say something because you thought it was okay. That's what I did. I didn't communicate well enough to make my, like my project clear.
Yes.
So it led to a miscommunication, which was 100% my fault. And I own up to the mistake.
But an innocent mistake. It was an innocent mistake, right?
Yes, but when you see it from the other person's perspective, it seemed very shady, where it looked and sounded shady as well. Like no matter how much you can explain yourself. But I just say stay authentic to yourself. You know you didn't do it on purpose. Mistakes happen all the time in life, in relationships. All we can do is move forward and learn from it and don't do it again.
Well, and I just want to say that thank you so much for even taking the opportunity to be on Iconic Wisdom today because just the fact that you're here, we're new, we're just starting to share information, education with women out there that really, really need it. And you've been so inspiring. Thank you, Claire.
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
So, Claire, COO, co-founder, BioBloom Medical. How can we find you, by the way?
You can find me on my social media, Where to Claire, and then you can also find our official website, biobloomoficial.com.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.